final in each of his appearances at the Champion of Champions. But who will be his opponent tomorrow? Tonight, our second semi-final sees a rerun of this year's Masters final as Kyren Wilson takes on Mark Allen in a best-of-11 frames match. Hello, welcome to the Ricoh. Looking forward to Saturday night snooker here. Alan McManus and Neil Foulds. And before we look ahead to what's going to be an absolutely fascinating second semi-final here, let's just quickly look back at last night. Ronnie O'Sullivan booking his place into his fifth final at the Champion of Champions. But it wasn't vintage Ronnie, was it?
No, but it wasn't bad either, you know, because he looked like he was going to finish off with 3 consecutive centuries. You know, he's not bad or not his best. He's pretty formidable still. And the thing about Ronnie, I think we've got to accept that some of the stuff in all of the nonsense that goes on with Ronnie, you know, where he doesn't like big chaotic venues, one-table setups, he's played brilliant snooker and he loves it here.
95% pot success. You know, he looked impressive, but he beats himself up, doesn't he?
He was doing it last night out there, you know, and then strangely enough, he came in here and was perfectly affable. He was having a laugh and a joke, so you never quite know what you're going to get. But Neil's right, you know what you're going to get in this kind of setup. He's obviously now been 5 appearances here in 5 finals, 2 wins, so he is the top dog still. What did you make of the way he actually played then last night, Neil?
I thought he was okay. You know, you can't always knock in centuries every single frame, but he was very, very dangerous. You know, he is as dangerous as anybody, I think, I've ever seen in amongst the balls, you know. And at the end, there was a big fist pump because that match means a lot. It hurt him, as I said last night. When he lost last year in that final to Shaun Murphy, it hurt him. But this time, you know, he got the job done, and I know he was pleased about that.
Yeah, we'll see him in the final tomorrow. But 2018 is proving to be something of a breakthrough here for Mark Allen, a triple crown for the first time and now top of the one-year ranking list. And Stephen Hendry found out the secrets to this year's success.
So, Mark, thanks very much for speaking to us so close before the semi-final. You've had a couple of days since the last match. Have you been thinking about this a lot? Have you been going slow? What have you done?
Not really. I've just got practicing with Terry, working on a few things, not just for the weekend, but for the tournaments going forward, trying to improve and yeah, just chilling out, watching a bit of football, not really getting too worried about the snooker. Yeah,
the last couple of seasons, I've noticed you've been getting to the business end of more and more of the biggest tournaments. Yeah. What have you deliberately changed anything mentally, or is it just your game's all coming together at the right time?
I think it's just my game's coming together. I've been working hard for a number of years now to try and correct things. I feel like probably practicing less than I ever did, but it's more structured now, and I think I'm going down to the club every day with a purpose, trying to improve things, and yeah, it's finally coming through.
Yeah, and yeah, I've obviously been raving, as most people do, but I've always been raving about your cue ball control. Your scoring, I think, is your biggest asset. You probably agree, but have you worked on other aspects of your game? Are they improving as well? Or?
To be honest, I always know that I'm going to score, so I've just solely really worked on my safety and my long potting. And yeah, I think if I can get a spell where I can get a tournament where my safety and long potting's on, then I'm more than capable of winning events because I know I'm always going to score.
Absolutely. And I know you've got a big match tonight, but is there any little thoughts in your mind about possibly playing O'Sullivan here in a big final tomorrow?
I'd be lying if I said no. Yeah. I've never played O'Sullivan in a big final before, so look, it's a tough match I've got tonight, but yeah, I have obviously thought about tomorrow, and it's the ultimate test. No disrespect to Kyren or any other opponents I've faced in the last couple of weeks, but I feel like my game's in real good shape, but O'Sullivan is the ultimate test.
Well, it's something to look forward to, but thanks for speaking to us. Cheers, good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Well, O'Sullivan might be the ultimate test, but the immediate test is Kyren Wilson. But Mark Allen has looked impressive this week, hasn't he?
He's probably been the player of the event so far, and you know, if you looked at his stats, they would back that up. His cue ball, I think, has taken a step up. Obviously, he won last week in China, so he's coming in here with good form, but I've never seen his cue ball as tight as what it's been this week. He's been excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's only under a week when he went on and won that event in China, you know, and he forged away in that final 7-1 against an in-form Neil Robertson, and he is really at the top of his game right now, and he's got to cherish these moments and just build on them because he's not always going to be playing like this. He knows that, and for now, he's got to really make hay because he is in the form of his life. He's just wonderful to watch when he's in, and he's so quick.
Yeah, he is. He's very quick. He's sort of polarised his opinion, Mark Allen, in recent years in the tour, but what you can say about him is he's honest, and you know, when Stephen asked him about playing Ronnie, he said, yeah, I'll be lying if I thought I wasn't thinking about it. Of course he is thinking about it, so he says he is, and that's good. We want to hear that.
Yeah, he beat Neil Robertson 6-1. He looked very, very good in that match. Interesting to hear him talk about how he's approaching the game now, particularly his practice, and it's not so much the the amount of time he's spending on the practice table, it's the quality and the focus that he's got there.
I've always been a big believer in quality of practice. If you go in, I've said this many times, you go in any practice room at a main tournament, you'll see the top players practicing certain things, and Mark Allen will be one of the guys that I'd be talking about.
Sorry, I'm very interested in his relationship with the Griff, because the Griffiths, Terry Griffiths, that is, who has helped him an awful lot. I mean, I watched Terry at breakfast this morning. He actually set fire to the toaster, there was genuinely flames a foot high coming out of it because he's too slow to get the toast out. So the Griff has not changed. He's slow and laid back to the point where there was nearly a real issue. And he's just so opposite to everything Mark Allen is and was that you wouldn't believe it. The flames coming out of him, unbelievable.
He's laid back into the Griff. He's horizontal.
Well, he was laid back all right. Everyone else was running around.
Everyone else was as well.
Put the fire out.
Yeah, I know.
I've no doubt he got the toast out and was able to enjoy his breakfast in peace without you bothering him. But let's hear now from Mark Allen's opponent tonight, Kyren Wilson.
Kyren, to use boxing parlance, this is your third fight of the week against a very tasty left-hander, a southpaw.
Yeah. Firstly, obviously, good luck to Tony Bellew tonight. I think it'll be a fantastic fight. And yeah, we've obviously got a fight of our own tonight, semi-finals, the champion of champions. It doesn't get much bigger. So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
You must have been absolutely delighted with your two results in the group. Obviously, beating the world champion was great, but your performance against Judd Trump was special.
Yeah, I obviously played very well, scored very heavily, definitely up my game for the evening rather than obviously against Mark Williams. Felt that I played okay throughout the whole day, to be honest, and I've kept myself ticking over practicing wise and come here fresh, ready for Saturday night.
And now the extra incentive of a potential final against Ronnie O'Sullivan tomorrow.
Yeah, to be honest, it's just another player. I'll be focusing on obviously trying to win my match tonight. Everything else comes as a bonus, and you've just got to focus on the present.
Thanks, Kyren.
Thank you. Cheers.
He's such an unassuming young man. He's not going to be distracted talking about the Ronnie show. He knows he's got a job to do tonight, and he's setting out to do it.
It's a good point, because do you know what I think Kyren is? For all the 20-somethings going around the tour, and there's a lot of them these days, he's the one that's not fragile mentally. I think every other one is to a different degree. Kyren, no. There's no mental weakness, so when he comes out there tonight to play Mark Allen, Mark's going to have to put him away, almost bully him a little, but you can't really do that with Kyren because he's so strong upstairs.
He'll get a lot of support as well. He just lives down the road, so he hasn't had to dice with death in the toaster here. He's just been able to come up the road and bring the family and friends with him.
No, I agree with Alan. He's very, very strong mentally, a very good player. Not as talented maybe, as obviously O'Sullivan and even the man he's playing tonight. But, he's got some sheer determination. He's got a good man in his corner, Barry Stark, we should mention. He's an interesting guy, and he's just the kind of player who isn't really frightened of anyone. He's a terrific rest player, by the way, as we saw in that first shot.
It's a hallmark of his game, but I remember playing him about 4 years ago, and he was too loose, far too loose. Big long backswing, it was too long. He's had to almost rebuild his game, and as Neil says through Barry Stark, he's been at
the one thing that you have been slightly critical of has been his cue ball control. Yeah,
that's something that I think that the older players on, I talk about 20-somethings, the Higginses and the Williams, and I think when you don't have a grounding, which all the older guys did, an amateur grounding, that they almost were taught the game properly in a way. It's kind of different now in the modern era. But Kyren can definitely improve in that. But he's capable of it because he's got all the talent.
It's interesting what you said about rebuilding his cue action. The player that did that most recently was Mark Selby before he ever became as good as he is now. And so there's no reason to believe that Kyren is not on the up all the way. I think he's going to go either to the top or very close to it.
Well, he beat Mark Williams and Judd Trump to get to this semi-final. Only dropped 2 frames along the way. Mark Allen has looked in scintillating fashion. You tell me then who's going to win this one. Come on, let's get some predictions on you.
I have to say Mark Allen because of the form he's in, and he's on that wave that I think is going to get him to the win tonight. I
think it's going to be hard to hold him down. I mean, you've got to remember one thing, though. Kyren did beat him with 13-6 at the Crucible. It's quite a heavy win. He's on the back of that, but at the moment, Mark Allen is amazing. OK, let's get to the action then. On the other side of the break, will Mark Allen make it through to a second
Champion of Champions final, or will it be Kyron Wilson stepping out to face Ronnie O'Sullivan tomorrow? The action is coming next.